Welcome to GenderMeowster Podcast Network. Genderful is a talk show featuring non-binary and trans folks discussing various topics and special interests. We kindly remind our listeners that no person is a monolith of identities. All opinions are the speaker's own. This show airs live on Twitch at twitch.tv/GenderMeowster, and VODs with show notes can also be found on YouTube. Meowdy folks, and welcome to today's episode of Genderful. This is a talk show where we interview gender wonderful beings and talk about gender and topics of their choice. Our guest today is Frazley. Hello, Frazley.
Hello, how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing super well. Maybe we can just start with names and pronouns. So for those who maybe are just meeting me for the first time, I'm GenderMeowster, and I use they them pronouns. I'm a Twitch streamer, YouTuber, and podcaster.
Nice. I'm Frazley. I'm a trans woman, she, her. I'm a Twitch streamer, podcast on hiatus. So I know all the stuff that you went through with this podcast, my friend. I'm like, oh yep, I recognize all that. But yeah, like definitely right now I've been really focusing on the Twitch streams and making those really try to go up. I mean, today I got denied partner, but hey, always next time. So I'm not stopping now.
I am super rooting and pulling for you. How long have you been a streamer?
I've been a streamer for about I've been doing it since 2015, but streaming really since 2016. I did like Last of Us before, so I counted like 4 years is really what I put down, because before it was still streaming, but it wasn't like streaming as a career or anything more than just, okay, I'll go on Twitch for a bit or two and stream, because I did like multi streams. I streamed to Hitbox, Twitch. I'm trying to remember if Beam was out, because I know Beam was what Mixer was.
Nice. And you have a companion next to you, I see.
Yes, that is Chocolate Chip Cookie, and he is the king. And like, typically I don't have him in here during podcasts, but right now I can keep the doors open because no one else is here. They're all on vacation, so I was like, hey, I get to rule the house today.
That's so amazing. I love your cat.
Oh, thank you.
Such a sweet little bean.
Yeah, it's just a heart.
My cat is Neferkitty. She's asleep in her bed.
Aww.
Yeah, she's very cute though. Here, I'll pop her on screen for like a moment if I can get it to work. Nope. But she's very cute. Very cute little bean. Gotta love our cat companions.
Yes, absolutely. Right now he's trying to pet me, and I was like, because he's learned it, if he wants attention, to start petting me, and I'll pet him back.
That's adorable. So your cat has trained you.
He really has, because he's like, if I pet you, I know that you'll pet me.
That's perfect. Perfect.
I love it.
We do love puns. We do love puns around these parts. So
yes,
anyone who's here with us live on Twitch, you can do !puns, and you will get a whole pile of rainbow +1 punspiration emotes bouncing around your screen.
I love that.
We made a point of putting all of our emotes. We gave our bot like a super mega tier 3 subscription so that everybody can use the emotes if they want to. And then if they love them and want to use them elsewhere on Twitch, they have to get a sub. But at least here, they can use them, because I would rather people spend their money on their HRT.
Absolutely. I did the same, except for I need to give my bot the tier 3, because right now my bot's on a 6 months tier 1 sub, but I'll give it a tier 3. I'm excited today. Twitch announced follower emotes, and if they go through, I'll be able to give followers the I've got a pride flag emote that's on tier 1. But I'll be able to make it where anybody who follows can get the pride flag emote, because it unfortunately follower emotes will only work on your channel, but it's still a cool way to give people a free emote.
Yeah, it's great. I love that you give folks that little bitty gimme. Oh,
Uh,
chocolate. Oh, is your cat a ragdoll?
yes,
Oh,
a ragdoll, and a chocolate flame point.
so cute. What a cute little bean. Yeah, when I get my next cat, whoever that will be, Neferkitty's successor, the next cat will be probably some sort of ragdoll.
Aww,
So I want a cuddly little bean.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm working on getting the cat cam up. I think the camera died, so I had to turn it back on. Since you're showing off your kitty boo, I'll have Neferkitty hang out in the corner over here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We'll both rock the cat cam today.
Really, today's just going to be a we're just the side entertainment, and the cats are the
Yes,
real stars of today.
the cats are the bosses. We're just here to love
Yes.
them.
If I was in my stream setup, I'd actually would have I have a whole different cat cam that I could pull in if I was in my other setup.
I love that so much. This is great. So far, we've got trans and cats. That's super on
Yeah,
brand for everything that I do
it
and love.
really is. It really is.
GenderMeowster, trans and cats. Good.
Well, and we could go into. I used to be a ballroom dancer, and I would always make jokes about like wanting to wear the dresses, and I was always told like, "Don't make anybody question your identity." I was like,
Oh.
"Well, back then, I know." I'm looking back at
Do you
my.
have like a trans tutu now?
I need to get one of those. I have a nice skirt that I wear when like when I start getting hot. I have a skirt that I wear when I'm streaming because it's so nice and flowing. But I should go for more of for the trans tutu and all that. When I do have a trans pride dress.
That's amazing.
I
Hello.
wore this
Frazley.
on Tuesday.
That's so fun. You know what? Capybara has just handed me something that came in the mail that I was hoping to wear on stream. I guess we're doing a dress up moment here.
Absolutely.
So Proud Owl makes cool things,
I love
and
Proud Owl.
the hat from Proud Owl just came in the mail this second. I'm gonna make sure I don't show any addresses on screen. So please prepare yourselves for the world premiere of the new non-binary hat that's stuck in this fabulous bag. Oh, it's so cozy. Ta-da!
Love it.
Non-binary pride. Hold on. Maybe I can. Here we go.
Love
Boom.
it. I love it.
It's so great. I love this hat. And it's long enough it's going to keep my neck warm when I roll it down when it's extra cold. This is a great hat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do a shout out. Boop. And I'm going to do a shout out for you too. So, you're a streamer. Ooh.
Sorry, I was muted for someone. It was like, yes, I'm a streamer. And you were talking about like, do you want to go into like the gender about streaming or streaming in general?
There's so many things we could talk about. Do you want to mention a little bit of your other backgrounds first before we dive into gender things? Because
Absolutely.
I actually think that's very relevant to this topic.
I am I love tech, and I do marketing and IT at two of my jobs. The third one I do I work in retail as like a fulfilling orders at a grocery store, but it does use a lot of tech in what we do. And I got into streaming through the fact that I was I'm working on a degree in communications and learning more about like tech and IT, and I decided one day just to try out. Back then it was trying out podcasting, but podcasting also went into streaming. So through both of those, I got to find my love for all this stuff. Got to meet some different communities, and like I got to meet the one of my friends, Amanda of Geek, and she got me. She and I like did a lot of talking, and she through her I got to meet like different queer individuals, and started to ask myself like, who am I? I'd always seen like the tweets about being asexual, and I would be like, I think I am asexual. I never out, but I would always think like that seems to fit me. I mean, and then last year when I came out as asexual, there was a tweet middle of June that like if you where it was like if you read this, you're probably asexual, and I was like, yep, I'm asexual. Everything like
Mm-hmm.
everything right there. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I saw that, I was like, okay, so if I'm asexual, what else about me am I maybe masking? And I was like, well, if I'm asexual, I think I'm probably agender, and I was starting to distance myself from the gender showing that I would always do, because I would always be like, oh, I like women and all that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, funny enough, if I know I do like women, but I'm not attracted to women. If that makes any sense, I know I like I know I'm pan, but I'm not attracted to anybody. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's when I started exploring myself, and then like trying out like agender, trying out non-binary until I finally settled on trans, and especially trans women is where I found the most fit. But combining that with streaming has been interesting because I found that I had a lot of support until you mentioned that, hey, maybe you're not straight, maybe you're not a man, and they're like, I don't know if I can be around you anymore. I actually gave up male privilege of streaming when I went out into all this, because it was one of those I remember losing followers, losing friends,
Oh
and
yeah.
it was tough. I saw the follow counts go down on both Twitter and Twitch each time I would make a new discovery. I even had someone who was like, I don't want you discussing sexuality or gender on your stream, and I was like, it's my place to discuss it.
Yeah. Well, and I think also it's important for us to discuss these things because folks need to know that trans and non-binary content creators exist and that people like
Yeah,
us exist in general. Like for me at least, I'm trying to make the content that I wish existed when I was trying to figure all this stuff out as a younger trans person. You
yeah,
know, I'm trying to create the
and
community I wish I had found when I was trying to find my way with all of this stuff so long ago.
me too. I want people to see that, hey, there's somebody like me, like not to like, well, it was cool on Tuesday night. I was honored to be on the front page of Twitch, and it was so cool to have some people come in the chat being like, wow, I relate to you so much. And someone was seeing somebody that related to them in some way, that like they were either non-binary or queer in some way, and they're like, to see you here on the front page meant so much. And I want that for everybody. I want people to see themselves online and to see themselves in there, because I don't know if you've checked the front pages of of Twitch often, especially in the different countries. Typically, straight white men.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly haven't checked the front page too much because it seems like it's not too relevant to me, actually.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It should be relevant that even if you're logged out, you should see yourself in some part of it. And like I said, I'm speaking from, I do see myself in the fact that I'm white and I see other white individuals, but anybody should be able to see themselves. You should be able to see to see if you're black, there should be black creators on there.
Yep.
If you're Asian, there should be Asian creators on there. That it should represent everybody.
Yep.
So you see somebody that's like you.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the reasons the new tags is so great, but it's like they only have five. We still only have five tags, and it's like, oh my
I
gosh.
know.
Yeah. I have actually a ton of tickets in I've identified or created between those two like 14 different tickets. Um on Twitch's feature request website, the Twitch user voice, and we have this one link tree that a community member put together for us with all of those things, so people can go through and just go upvote all of those. But it's for everything. I think one of them's like the asexual tag doesn't exist, or one of the agender type a something tags. Like it says autism instead of autistic.
Yeah,
And
and
there's other stuff too. Like we need more than 5, or we need like identity ones to be a separate category that we can have as many identities as we have, and then have like, you know, the game tags be the thing that changes every time, and you're limited to 5, because it's just like identity is such a huge part of the content that I make, at least, and I think you too.
yeah, absolutely. And it's, I want to be able to show my entire identity on stream, because just looking at at like my analytics, I
Mm-hmm.
saw an increase adding in the trans tag, that
Mm-hmm.
like adding that in, more people have found me in that way. And it's definitely, it's something Twitch, but it needs improvement, it needs work.
Yeah, I'm grateful for the progress, and we haven't arrived yet.
Yes, exactly. That like it's at least we finally have it and all that. But yeah, like want more. And like I love the one that says, even says, if you have anything that falls under the LGBTQIA plus tag, just make that an automatic tag that's applied to you and does not count to your fight. And even the one that I hate too is anything about accessibility doesn't show, like closed caption.
Mm-hmm.
If you have closed caption and you tag it, it takes up one of the tags. And you're trying to show people you have closed caption on your stream.
Yeah, exactly. So, you talked a little bit about streaming as queer. Do you want to talk a little bit more about how your relationship to gender has evolved over time, and then we can circle back to streaming as queer?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, so I started out as a gender, and like, because I thought I was, that gender did not matter to me, and I took on they them.
Mm-hmm.
But as I was looking at it, I then thought, okay, no, I do feel a gender expression, and that's kind of when but I felt like it was outside the binary, the binary, and that's when I identified as non-binary. And part of that was like through that I started trying out like she pronouns, because I was like, okay, someone kept encouraging me, because people would every once in a while say like queen, or like, or you've
Mm-hmm.
got it, girl. I was like, I feel euphoria to that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel something there. And then they said, okay, what why don't you try she they? I was like, okay. So I started doing that, and from there I was like, I really enjoy she. And like when people say like she did it, or have you seen her and all that, like it brought me joy.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Gender euphoria is so great.
Yeah, and I realized what I like looking pretty. I like feeling pretty, and not that that has anything to do with gender, but I like being very, what society has deemed more feminine, and I like it. Like I I knew there's something there back when I wore a Powerpuff Girls costume of Bubbles, and I
Mm-hmm.
wore it on stream because it was like a Halloween stream. It was like, so I was like, what's your favorite Powerpuff Girl? And would you cosplay as her? And I was like, sure. And back then I was like, oh, I'm a man wearing a dress, and my that's where I was, in my gender expression, and I felt weird doing it. Oh yes, absolutely. Bubbles is the best Powerpuff Girl, absolutely. A Timbo or Timbo, and like through that I was like, no, I kind of like this. I kind of like this. So it has definitely been evolved. It wasn't a straight going from being a man to being a woman. It was a definitely a lot there, and trying to find what brings me the most euphoria, what makes me feel really good. And part of the reason why I think I struggled on taking the step was like when I was 4 6, when I was 4, I knew I was a woman, and like I had that, but my family kept pushing me back, being like, no, God made you a certain way. So I think
Mm-hmm.
why it took me a long time to take on she her was telling the family, that your they them was like, okay, you're non-binary. Okay, I can kind of see it. Then when you tell them that, oh no, I think I'm she her, and they're like, that's I don't know if we can support you in that way. Like
That's
even telling them,
that
yeah,
is
or go ahead.
rough. That is rough, and that is also a lot of like trans and LGBTQ plus people's experiences.
Yeah, and and I realized like I held off on it because I didn't want to take that big step because I basically said goodbye to everything of myself that would like of my own gender identity of being male. I said I'm not a man, and shutting that away took a lot, and it took a lot socially. I remember when I came out on Facebook, saw the Facebooks plummet, all the
Hmm.
friends go away, like, hey.
Yeah. You know, that's part of why, one, having sort of an intentional, like, trans and non-binary community is so important. So, like,
Yeah,
one of the things that my community has that I absolutely love is we have a pretty active Discord server where folks can like love and support each other, and we have all of these new questioning roles that we just added. So if you like think you might maybe be some flavor of some gender, something that's not exactly cis, like you can join the little questioning gender spot and like talk about it with the rest of us and like try to figure it out, you know, and have people who support you, and it's not in front of your parents or your spouse or whoever else, right? So
yeah,
that's it's a sort of a safe place to try on names and pronouns and all of that, and there's a lot of communities like that too.
and I think that's why I came out to online first, even before family, because I was talking with people online, being like, hey, I think this is how I feel or how I identify, and I was talking with different individuals,
Mm-hmm.
even trying on the name Frazley, which is not my new legal name. I've got a different name for legally, but even trying out that name felt better than my former name
Mm-hmm.
did.
Yeah, I hear that.
And I think from there, I realized I already had a platform of the podcast and the stream and all that, and I realized I needed to do just like what you described,
Mm-hmm.
create a place where people can feel comfortable. And when I first started it, I wasn't I was not focused on inclusivity when I first started, and then I watched the Rainbow Arcade do a summit on creating a space, curating your space, because I was always afraid of what if I offend somebody that's straight? Yeah, it sounds weird, but like, what if I happens if I offend somebody that's straight or cis by making it inclusive? And they said, but you realize by doing that, you're alienating anybody that's queer, making them not feel safe to be able to talk about this stuff. And that's when I decided to focus on being inclusive, focus on the fact that in my streaming space, you can talk about your gender and orientation and things that you're going through, but definitely make sure to follow your own boundaries. Like don't share more than you're comfortable on.
Yeah, I super I agree. You know, so my newest emote that's not live yet is a cat holding a little non-binary heart and hugging it.
I love it.
It's so cute, and it's based off of Neferkitty, this little bean right here.
Nice.
So it's a little calico, and you know I realized like so I'm in a couple of trans spaces, which is great, and I love them, and they have the trans flag that you see up there, the pink and blue and white, and there's even fewer emotes or things that are non-binary, and so I was like, oh, you know what we're missing is specifically non-binary representation in all these places. So that's why like my
Absolutely.
overlay is non-binary. Like it used to be trans, and I actually haven't used the trans tag because I ran out of tags because I used the non-binary tag, and
Yeah.
like, you know, disabled. And this is an Ask Me Anything podcast stream, so AMA is on there as well, and yeah, it's great to have the new non-binary tag. I'm so thrilled. It makes me very happy.
Absolutely. And I was hoping that they weren't just going to add transgender, but that they were going to all to add to add non-binary, because I I know that not all non-binary individuals are trans,
Mm-hmm.
and not all trans individuals are non-binary. That like there is a there can be a correlation there, but also
Hmm.
it's up to each individual how they choose.
Yeah. I do think that trans is an umbrella term, which is great, but
Yeah,
there are like people who are trans who identify as being on the binary who don't understand some of the pieces of my experience.
exactly.
And
And
so it's
and
like
and I
I
think it's
want that extra bit of intricacy to be included in if people are looking for it.
absolutely. And that's why like I any non-binary individuals who consider consider themselves trans, I consider themselves trans, but I've also talked with a few who don't want to be considered trans. So
Mm-hmm.
I fully understand that too. But I think people need to realize trans is more than just the binary. It's trans, and trans is not you necessarily being a man or woman. I mean that, and I think as like we've seen what society has shown and raised up, and really sadly society has typically raised up the trans woman has not raised even the trans man as much. And I want to I'm with you. I want to amplify and raise up all voices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totes. Well, what are other sort of safe spaces that you've heard of or know about for trans folks, for trans streamers more specifically? Is there more you'd like to talk about there?
Yeah, I definitely would say that like your community and my community are two, but there's also for finding individuals. Check out the tags on Twitch. Check out different like podcast communities like two that I know are Biggest Venice and Ingy Caring. Those are places to hang out. There's also peer to peer for finding other creators and with identity tags. There's there's P flag, PFLAAG, if I said that right, which is definitely it's a resource for queer individuals and also in their families.
Hmm.
There's the Trevor Project. There's Trans Lifeline. One of the ones that I found very helpful was Gender Wiki and the LGBT Wiki. That there those two. If I had questions on stuff, I would start looking up there and start like Google is definitely a friend. I mean, one tool to add to your browser when you start looking at these resources, download Shinigami Eyes extension
Hmm.
because you can quickly see if a resource that you're googling is uh is definitely transmissic or if it's transpositive. So it like they will try to like have the community show sites that are like, yeah, this site's not exactly transpositive or trans friendly.
Hmm.
And even individual like sometimes I'm on Twitter and someone will be marked as being transmistic. Like, okay, I know somebody that I'm going to avoid. And one area I would look because I found a lot of my community from people that I already knew. Like I was already a member of Geek Caring. I was already a member of some different places. And even when I played World of Warcraft, I found who I was near. Keep an eye out for who's around you, and maybe there's an individual near you who's willing to at least show you some of these queer spaces that I think because it's been helpful it's been helpful for me to enter these places, but with somebody that I know and that I trust and that I know I don't feel alone when I'm there. Because even entering some of these places by yourself can feel very alone. Can feel very
Totally.
I, isolating, and you're like I'm in a couple trans discords, and some of them I don't feel any connection to because it's like I don't know anybody there, so it's hard for me to speak
Yeah.
up, and I don't speak up a lot.
I totally relate to that. I'm in multiple, and some of them actually, for security reasons, like to prevent trolls, they have rules like you can't post pictures, you can't do links, you can't do emotes or reacts until you reach a certain rank in the server. So you have to engage and type words. But for me, as like an autistic individual with social anxiety, I'm like, ooh, I just want to post memes and see who likes them, and then talk to that person. Like,
Yeah,
I want to find a shared ground first, and then talk. I totally understand why they're doing it. There's just this part of me that gets anxious about it.
And definitely the bandwidth that like I know that in my own Discord I have one channel that is behind just a level 1, but if I know somebody and I know them, I will manually raise them up to the level because I realize that we don't all have time and energy to speak, but but I'm with you. I like having one safeguard to this one channel, but it very, very small entry. And because even after my waiting room, I don't want to give everybody access here. I want people to at least feel safe that we've probably, or not probably, that we've done our best to at least vet who's in this one specific chat room. But the other chat rooms, like the meme ones, oh yeah, go to town on the memes.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. So our server, the way we handle sort of safety concerns is we have, like, when people join, they have to go through this gate. You have to read all the rules and agree to them first. And
Yeah,
so there's that. So then we also have, if someone goofs up, unintentionally, we can gently remind them, like, hey, we have some agreements about language, for example. Like, we're working on decolonizing our casually oppressive language. Some of the servers we've worked with before have talked about like casually ableist language, and it's actually more than just ableism. It's also like there's a lot of racism in idioms. Let's consider the idioms we're using before we just throw them around, for example. So like we're also working on some of those things, and some people who have joined, they don't quite get the culture yet, and so like they get time to sort of figure it out. And we're not trying to scare people away with that. But then for those who join and they're sort of bad actors, then we have, several mods that are around, like looking at stuff, who can kick people out, and lots of documentation and all the things. But yeah, we've tried really hard as a team to make sure that the space is well moderated and that folks sort of know the expectations coming in, so that it's a safe place to be. And all of the channels that are really sensitive, so like the gender and sexuality channel is a very popular one. That one is, you have to take an additional role after you get into the server to get into there and start talking to people. And so people can't just bop spam the gender channel with BS, right? Because it's like
yeah.
you have to, there's like a couple layers of, you have to read the information and go do the thing. And so we have been pretty safe with that set of things. Yeah. Yeah, safety.
And being and as you said, being intentional. Like I do the same thing on mine. I'm always trying to refine and make it more safe. But yeah, intentionally being intentional on the security there, because like even like a few months ago, didn't have a waiting room and anybody could just pop into the server
Mm-hmm.
until we got hay raided, of course. Then I was
Yikes.
like, nope, I'm changing that. So yeah, I mean it's and I think it's refining and learning, because like do you have resources to share with the audience on on even the colonial speak? Because I need to make sure that I look at that too, because I've been trying to work on
Yeah, we have a command, exclamation point language, and I'll post the words of that into the show notes so that people can find it later. But we have an entire post in the server about why we're doing it and how we're doing it, and a couple of different examples. So one of the channels in our Discord server is actually called Solidarity Resources, and so it has information from insider groups of people about how people can support them. So like, I'm not BIPOC, so I can't speak on behalf of BIPOC. But if
yeah.
someone who is BIPOC says, I need, like, this, my community needs help in this way, or this is something we need white people to be more aware of, then I will take that information and put it into Solidarity Resources so that all the well-meaning white people can go learn themselves some things and not be, teach themselves some things, excuse me, and not be as racist as they were before they read whatever the thing is, so, or watched the thing.
Eh,
Like using the platform to lift up the voices of people who are diverse in many, many ways, not just the ways that I am, and
yeah.
sharing that information as widely as possible.
And I think that's key, because like I even on the ableist language, when I've shared I use the one from Autisticoia, and
Mm-hmm.
sharing that people have started to change their language. and like I need to share like the some of the resources that I've seen on trying to avoid um AAVE, and because I've tried to stop using that vernacular because I'm like
Yeah,
I have no right to use any of that vernacular.
I hear that. Um, Goodness, there's so many things we could talk about.
Well,
I'm just
I know.
overwhelmed with the possibilities.
All
Um,
good, all good.
but I also know we are. Let's see. I don't even know what time it is. 3:45. So we've got about 15 minutes until the time we initially decided we wanted to end. And I want to respect your sleep schedule. I know you've got lots of streams and jobs and things that you do with your life. So there's plenty of things we could talk about. But is there anything you want to make sure that we talk about that we maybe haven't yet? Sort of talked about resources kind of earlier than usual, which is totally fine. Um,
Yes,
so
I'm just looking at.
yeah, there's the two things that I have is like maybe talking about some trans friendly stream teams. I'd love to hear your experiences on stream teams and what stream teams are and how do people get on stream teams. And
Absolutely.
then the last question that I have, this is an AMA, so anyone in the audience is totally, you can submit questions, and the mods will share them with us. But yeah, the other question that I have for you that I wrote is, what would you like to make sure folks know about your perspective on gender and non-binary and or trans issues?
I'm just looking up. I wrote down the I wrote down the notes and I'm not seeing it. Oh. Okay. I on that one on the what was that to make sure folks know. I think I always wanted to make sure that trans individuals know that no one has to medically transition to be trans. You don't need to be an HRT. That no one should gatekeep your identity. That you don't
Mm-hmm.
need to prove to anybody who you are. And I've seen even in the some of the trans spaces I've seen people I like I'm on HRT and at some point I'm going to be getting gender affirming surgery, but nobody needs that like it doesn't make you trans, it doesn't make you more trans, less trans, and that there's no ideal trans individual. That everybody has their own their own identity. Everybody has parts of it that that they that they're working on. I can, for instance, my voice. I want to train my voice, but also there's part of me that's right now it's not a huge priority to train my voice. And one of the things the things I always hear like from especially cis individuals is always like, well, if you changed your voice, people would respect your pronouns more. And it's like, no, I that my voice should not be what helps me pass or not pass.
Mm-hmm. I know. So my wife is a trans woman, and she has had bottom surgery, which she's talked about publicly. So that's why I feel comfortable sharing that. That's usually not information people just randomly share, just
Yeah,
for anyone who's listening and doesn't know the context. But yeah, her for her, she has a huge voice dysphoria because she does want to pass, and people hear her on the phone misgender her. Like, she can be at a store with a pink shirt on, like she's got her breast forms in, she's got her thing going on, very femme clothes. People hear her
yeah.
voice or they see the shape of her shoulders because she's very tall, she's a big woman, and they immediately, without fail, misgender her. And it's like she literally has breasts and is wearing pink and has long hair, and like her body posture is very like the femme sort of like trying to take up as least space as possible sort of a thing. I noticed that the other day we were in public. I was like, huh, I
Oh,
sit like a
I love that.
dude.
Yes,
I do the man spreading thing when I'm sitting around places.
nice,
It's
nice.
hilarious. It's very natural for me. I've just always been that
Absolutely.
way. I
And
was horrible at
like
wearing
yeah.
skirts. I always did it wrong.
Oh, I started doing the crossing my legs because I tend to act like I do have that area now, and like but yeah, I totally get it because it's like I have a she her button at work. I have the glasses. I have it all, and I typically get the sir. I've only had one customer see my she her and said, "Oh, thank you, miss," and it was like, "Oh, yeah,
Yeah, it's great when people get it right, but I wish it was not the exception, you know?
I know." Like I've started saying like when I introduce myself on the phone that I am Miss so and so, and that's at least got some people being like, "Oh, okay," it's giving them a an idea, and yeah. And that like, and I want people to like, even when you're reading all these trans resources, know that sometimes even the resources are written in a very binary way. They're written in a very one stereotypical gender way, and know that you can take on what you do and don't like. Like I'm wearing men's pants, I'm wearing men's shoes,
Hmm.
and all that. I've been wearing women's tops and stuff like that. And yeah, that everybody can express themselves and the way that they want, and that feels best to them.
Yeah. I mean, as a non-binary person, I'm a fan of having a mix of outfits and identities and things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I I have a friend who's gender fluid and has so much fun doing that as well. I mean, just like one day being like, okay, I want to dress very masculine. Next day, I want to dress up in a dress. And it was like I remember one time I was watching them stream, and it was so cool just to see like putting on the dress, their face just lit up. I was like, yes, yes. And yeah, exactly. I'm with No Angel 13. Clothes don't have genders, absolutely. And we've gendered clothing so much, but no, clothes don't have gender.
Just a side note, we just got rated by like so many people in like a
I
two
saw
minute
that.
period. So I just want to say thank you to all the raters for recording a podcast episode. So that's why you're not getting verbal acknowledgments. Cool. Okay. So tell me about trans stream teams. What's your experience? What's it like being on a stream team, Frazley? How do we get on one?
Oh yeah. I'm a member of Transmission Gaming, a stream team started by the Twitch ambassador Nicotine. I'm on the Breadbox. The Breadbox is not a trans team, but it's a team about diversity and inclusivity and like creating safe spaces, working on charity. And I'm also a member of a member and team lead for Team Transtopia, and that one was started by Twitch partner Quarter Ghost, and that one's focused on trans and gender diverse individuals. The teams themselves have been great because it's been able to been nice to one get validation for the work that they put into, because you're like, okay, that somebody sees me as something to put their name behind, but also like especially with like I helped out with Trans Day visibility for transmission, and raised I think over $100 for Trans Lifeline that day.
That's so awesome.
On the bread box, I've raised money with them, and we're about to do a Rainbow Railroad campaign. And then Transtopia, we're starting up and like going through applications right now. But to on any of these stream teams, look for one that the members that you jive with. Look for members that like the team that you feel part of. Like I'm not going to be applying for any other teams other than one. There's one team I'm applying for, but I've been looking at this team for even longer than I've been a member of the other teams, and like this is the team I've been.
Yep.
It's a dream of mine,
I
but
hear that.
definitely look for the teams that jive with you. Look for the team that like, who's the team lead? Who are the members on there? Do you do you get a good vibe with them? Because you're going to end up talking with them in discords, and sometimes they are a safe space. It's a team where you can have people to raid at the end of a stream, and like, and that you're putting their name on them. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. And Panda says that she's proud of me for getting on the team. It felt really good to get that validation because, like I said, there is visibility that does come with being on a team because the team page is there, so you end up getting like team members coming to see you. So definitely look for teams that are there. Every one of the teams typically has an application process, and you may not get in the first time. And I've not gotten into different teams. One I got denied on, and don't take a denial from any team has a rejection of you. Typically, the teams have a small window, and like they may get a lot of applications, and they don't want to expand the team too rapidly. And
Yep.
it's definitely one that if you want to be on that team, fight for it. Be checking the applications every day until they open again. Because from what I've heard on different teams, if they see your application twice and they see that you really want to be a part of their team, it can help from what I've heard. And I'm saying that as a from the member perspective.
Yeah, totally. I know that I've applied to teams and I just never heard back. Like they didn't even send me a rejection letter. They just never wrote back. And so with the most recent team I applied to, I actually commented on someone's tweet and I felt bad because I was like, I know this is extra work for you and I acknowledge that and I feel bad about it. And also, did you even get my application? Because I've applied to like 2 other teams before, never heard back, felt totally shitty about it. And like, I just need to know if my Google form is even submitting. Like, is it working? I don't know. And thankfully, the person wrote back and was like, yes, we did get your application. I was like, oh, thank goodness.
And I believe I can say this as a team lead of Transtopia. Every application is going to get a response back. So
That's amazing.
so it because yeah, like I've experienced what you have experienced of like the no feedback back, and you're like, oh. And I do want to mention because I'm forgetting a part of the story, partly because I kind of have like forgotten this team. I was for a time a member of Women of Warcraft until I realized when I joined, and there was not very much, if any, diversity in that team, and
Yeah.
I've not been following them since then. So, but I was like, I cannot be a part of this team, especially a team that launched without diversity as a intentional focus, because I think every team needs to be very widely represented of a community, and like and I'm speaking sometimes even more than just gender, but I definitely in 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 race, that your team should not just be white individuals, because otherwise you are not showing the breadth of humanity.
Yeah, that's true. That's a super good point. Um, okay, is there anything else you would like to share? I'm gonna start looking for a raid target. Bwahaha.
I'd say I always like to tell people, if you're closeted, because again I was closeted for 30 years, you don't need to rush into coming out. But also, I know GenderMeowster, I know Pandagosa, the different individuals, and like our communities, we will be there for you. I know it's tough, and I don't know all the pressures that you have on you right now that might be stopping you from coming out. But no, I had my own pressure, so I can empathize in that regard. But yeah, don't come out till you're ready. But when you are, we are ready to welcome you with open arms, because you are a member of us already, even if you're not out. It's why I've added the U to the tag, that the LGBTQIA2U plus, that if you're unsure, or and like, and that you know you're queer but you don't know where you fit, you're already a member of us.
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. And it's okay to be questioning. It's okay to not be sure. It's okay to be in between and trying
Absolutely.
to figure it all out, you know?
And I'm an example of I'm a woman who changed her identity. Even in her process, I changed my I feel now good in being the trans binary woman. That brings me the most euphoria. But I it took me of exploring. Yeah, questioning is so valid, as No Angel 13 says.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Frazley. Again, I want to
Absolutely.
honor your sleep schedule. I enjoy every time pop into your stream or raid your channel. I love our little interactions. I love that you're doing Breath
Thank
of the
you.
Wild. Do you want to plug anything that you're up to? Do you want to talk about, you know, you mentioned Transtopia, but there's also your personal stream schedule or charity stuff you're doing this month for Pride Month. There's probably lots you got going on.
Absolutely. I'm going to be doing Rainbow Railroad, and I'll be doing that campaign starting Monday. Monday to Wednesday, I do variety streaming. Saturdays, I do adventure, kind of like Breath of the Wild and different games. We'll be getting into some of Skyward Sword in
Nice.
July.
I'm
Sunday
excited for
is
that to
just,
come out.
oh, me too, especially with no motion controls.
Oh goodness.
And then Sundays are just chill and simulation and Stardew Valley. And I'm definitely overall working on like on increasing my stream. That I applied for partner, got denied, so I know what I'm fighting for now.
Yeah, so we can support you in that quest by watching your stream, right? And rating into your
Absolutely.
channel and helping your viewer count go up.
Absolutely, and lurking's always welcome. Don't ever feel like you have to talk in the chat. Just being there lurking helps so much.
Hmm. And we like to remind folks that the best, most useful way to lurk is if you're on PC, for example, or a computer. It doesn't have to be PC. If you mute the tab instead of the volume in the actual stream, that's how your lurk counts. So you can just have it running in the
Absolutely.
background. You don't even have to listen to us or look at us. It's cool if you do, but you don't have to. And that is a great way that you can support folks. The last thing, if you don't have to answer this question, but I think it's cool that you do it. What do you use your bits and subs for?
All my bits and subs go toward helping me pay my hormone replacement therapy bills, and there's like a lot of cost that, like, I just picked up my most recent one, and there's the lab cost, there's the visit cost, the doctor costs, and then ultimately it's kind of I'm kind of working on moving out, becoming independent. But one that I talk about, but I have no timeline on it yet, is gender affirming surgery, because
Mm-hmm.
I've already thought about. I keep trying to save a little bit of money here and there to be like, to start building up a fund, because that will one day, my goal is to be able to just be like, hey, can I can I say the part name on stream, or is that too vulgar for
Oh,
your
that's
audience?
that's okay. Content warning: mention of body
You have a
parts
warning.
coming soon.
One day I will be able to say I have a vagina. So
Yay!
and I'll be able to pay for all the pockets. So that's
Yeah,
so yeah. So all of your support goes to helping me pay for all that. So
yeah.
it helps
Commissioning
me.
custom vaginas is about a $70,000 price tag. I know
Exactly,
because my
exactly.
family just did that. It's not cheap.
Yes.
So everyone go
No.
drop Frazley some subs and bits, please.
Oh, thank you.
I like to
So
cheer bits and say biddies for the titty skittles.
I love it. I love it. Yes. And like I said,
And I'm totally not trying to like sexualize or anything. I'm trying to be
oh
cheeky and
no.
trans in your general direction.
Absolutely. I always try to like let like I try to let cis women know I'm not trying to sexualize the breasts,
No.
but money goes toward helping me get breasts. I mean,
It's mostly about the affirmation of the gender and the things.
it really is, because
I
like,
just had to have my second round of labs for my like HRT, and it's not cheap. It's a
oh
couple hundred
no,
bucks.
no. Oh, and I did mine first out of insurance, because like I thought my place would be covered on my first insurance. Thanks to Biden, I was able to change my insurance to finally have it cover. But the first lab thing was $1,000, over $1,000. So now
Yikes!
I'm
Yikes!
still paying that off every month. So that's another thing
Yeah.
that it goes toward.
No wonder you have 4 jobs.
Exactly. Yes.
And doing Twitch stuff too. My goodness. All right. Well,
I
I have sent you a list of potential raid targets in the Discord if you want to check it out. I will say farewell to you on stream, but we can check out after. Um, would you like to say goodbye to everybody?
thank everybody here for having me on, and I'm so glad to see that you all have an amazing community. That all of you are, like, even just like tonight in chat, I can see all the love, and thank you, GenderMeowster, for creating a place for people to be around. And I think we are changing Twitch to create a safe, inclusive place where you don't have to feel afraid to be in a chat.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.